Welcome back to Rev It Up Bowling. My name is Jason Robar. What we're going to be doing today is reviewing the Archetype Hybrid from Track. It's their newest installation to the Track line. The ball itself is a hybrid cover stock sporting the QR11 hybrid with HK22 additive, and it does sport the iCore 3.0 Slim, same thing as the original Archetype, which I will be comparing both of them. This ball itself, I have thrown a little bit far, threw it in a tournament, and just now getting to the ball review. However, I do really enjoy it. It is, I wouldn't say significantly, but it is much different than the original with that HK22 cover, promotes a lot of length. The ball is marketed to be a little more skid flippy, and it definitely is. The layout I put on this was a 45 by 4 3/4 by 45. It actually might be 60 by 4 3/4 by 45. Basically what I wanted this ball to be would be a big bowling ball on transition. It does roll pretty decent on fresh, but it is kind of quick to respond. In order for me to, they call it kind of like fading the ball to the pocket, where you can get left. You're not going to cross a ton of boards, but you're going to be kind of playing that 3-pin or the right side of the 3-pin, and where you can really get that ball kind of shoved in the pocket and get it to like kind of back up into the pocket. It's kind of the idea on why I drilled this bowling ball. I felt like it was missing in my bag. However, I have thrown it on a house and it does work pretty well crossing boards. So what we're gonna be bowling on today is the 2023 USBC Open Nationals team pattern. It's like a 41 foot, provides a decent amount of recovery right. I bowled pretty well on out at Nationals, and I hope to do the same today. I will be comparing these two. What we're gonna do first, we're gonna get shots on this Archetype, get lined up, and then we're gonna throw them and just kind of compare the differences. So let's get into it. So on this pattern, I know that I was left kind of swinging the ball a little bit from the get-go down there. Not saying it's gonna play the same because different state, lanes, whatever. So what we're gonna do is kind of start on the second arrow, get an idea on what this ball gives us, and then move accordingly. If I had to guess, it's gonna overhook a lot, but. Yep, definitely did. It was it got down lane, it was pretty sharp, stored a lot of energy. So this is definitely gonna be a little bit more of a skid flippy bowling ball. It does have a 2.52 RG. Now, any bowling nerd out there will tell you that is a pretty high RG for an asymmetric. A lot of asymmetrics have a lower RG to get them into a roll earlier. This one sports a much higher RG. So we're gonna move left a little bit, try to get away from the pocket a little bit more as far as getting the ball away, and that should help with that skid flippiness. We're gonna move 5 or 6 left, see what this ball gives me. Okay, not enough. I'm thinking another 3 or 4. Let's go to 25. Oh, very, a little bit closer. It was down lane in a little bit. The cores in these bowling balls, very big, I will say. 2.52 and a 14 RG. The differential is in the 0.052, 0.054. Pretty up there, not as big as high diff as a Black Widow, but does flare a lot. It has a very big intermediate diff, you know, and that just promotes more of that flippiness a little bit more, and it likes the hook set a little bit more. Lower the intermediate differential, typically is smoother. The ball will transition higher. That lump of weight wants to flip over a little bit harder. So let's move a little bit more left, get an idea on what this does. That was in. Yeah, that was a bad shot. Go ahead and throw another one. Hitting your mark helps a lot, Ace. Yeah, I averaged 300 for 3 games. Much better. All right, so that was like 20 through the arrows, 8 break point. It was pretty sharp. Probably not ball motion I would stick with at the current moment. I need rolls more. So with that said, let's throw the original Archetype. This ball has a much more aggressive cover stock, but will burn energy, has a little bit more teeth to it. And I'm hoping it's gonna give me a smaller ball or smoother ball shape, and it's not so quick like the Archetype Hybrid. All right, so that one was the farthest right shot. I'll throw another one. But in general, it was much smoother and rolled forward a lot quicker. It was smoother, so it was slower upon transition, but it did roll forward off the back more, which is good. That's kind of what I'm looking for. It's not get the ball far right. Might have to move right a little bit too, but we'll see. Very good. All right, so I do like that shot better, that shape, for what we're doing now, simply because it does roll more smoother, it's more predictable. So the big differences between these balls is the cover, right? That's really the only difference. Layouts are relatively similar-ish, but in general, with this ball, you're gonna see a lot smoother ball shape. It's got a very aggressive cover on it. And it's a nice 1-2 punch, you know, because you can kind of stay on top of your current line if you're throwing this one, and just get a little bit later, gets to the mids a little bit more. All right, let's throw another shot. All right, so what that tells me there, I crossed a lot of boards. That ball was a little pukey. It didn't retain enough energy. So currently, this ball is retaining a little too much energy-ish. And this one barely is burning up. Most people think if a ball is burning up, you know, it's not making it back to the pocket. So we need to move right. Well, when you move right, you're gonna find more friction. The ball is either gonna duck hook or roll out more. So what I'm actually gonna do is move left, get the ball slowed down, and it's gonna see more oil, so it can retain more energy. Much more energy, almost left the 9-pin, right? When you guys are thinking about, like, ball motion is all about energy, right? Friction, like basically potential energy to kinetic energy, right? The ball's going through the oil, creating potential energy. When the ball hits dry, it's creating kinetic energy, right? So with this ball, it just needed more energy at the break point. So we move left and more oil. So we're gonna go ahead, and actually I'm gonna ball change. I moved 4 left. So we're gonna move 4 left with this ball. In theory, this ball is gonna make it more skid flippy because it's gonna see more oil. I did slow it down a little bit too, so we'll do that. Oh, and I sent it right. Hello. Bad shot. Let's go ahead and throw another one. Oh, what I would do to be perfect every time. All right. Yeah, we took that board, or that move left, slow it down a little bit. Don't toss out the window. I tossed out the window. All right, so it's clearly showing me I can't toss the ball out the window. I can't throw it right that much because it's just not hooking early enough to make it back to the pocket. We're gonna try to keep it a little bit tighter. I mentioned earlier, I kind of drilled this ball to trap it a little bit more, a little bit straighter angles, get the ball to flare and kind of flip and roll forward for those longer patterns typically. And I pulled it. God, I suck at this, Ace. God, I needed to burp the whole time, so it was like hard. All right, now let's try another good shot. But like, I will say where I'm standing with this ball, trying to create this angle, is very uncomfortable, which is the #1 thing for me to pay attention to as far as ball motion goes. Okay, so great. Yes, it didn't strike, but it got too far down lane. It was still in its hook phase, got behind the head pin, and just deflected because it wasn't rolling forward. So that kind of tells me that this ball does get down lane more than the original. However, it does still need friction to get the ball flipped over. When I'm that deep, I don't need more skid. I need a little bit more roll. So this is kind of telling me that these balls are about 2 or 3 boards apart, depending on what you're using them for. The Archetype Hybrid, the Archetype's my bad, is more aggressive cover. It does eat the lane a little bit more. You might need to find a little bit more oil with it. With the Archetype Hybrid, it is sporting the HK22, very clean, but the HK22 does give its teeth to it, so it sees the mid lane a little bit, but it's definitely later down lane. Other than that, with these kind of bowling balls, it does have dot, which is nice, so you can put any kind of layout on them. I really, really enjoy track stuff right now. Ever since the merger between Ebonite and Brunswick, they're releasing less track stuff. I think it's some of the best stuff Brunswick makes. Stealth Pearl, Archetypes. Theorem is one of the Stafford's favorite bowling balls. This fits that mold. The Archetype was amazing, helped me win a regional, and I expect the same from the Hybrid. So if you guys have any questions, please leave it in the comments. We'll try to get to them as quickly as possible. But with that said, my name is Jason Robards. This is Rev It Up Bowling. Much love, peace.